Hello, class, and welcome back to another lesson. Today, we're going to be talking about why liking Ahri doesn't make me a furry. Of course, my name is Tutor Brandon, and today's date is going to be November 16th, or the 16th day of No Nut November. Now, if you'll take a look at this chart here by Professor Lando, of course, my colleague, he has a baseline from 0 to 5, and this chart is very important in understanding the furry scale and what makes a person a furry, and how intense somebody can go. Baseline 0 being just a regular person, regular guy or girl, depending on your preference. That's just a human, nothing added on and nothing taken away. Now, tier 1, that's just adding the ears, the cat ears or the fox ears, whatever animal, and the tail if they have one. 2 being a semi-furry, a little bit more human, and then 5 just being an animal, and the chart really explains itself. It just goes through all the different levels of furrydom. So, can you tell me that Ahri is more than just a tier 1? I mean, you look at her and all she has is the ears and the tails. Maybe she has a little cheek marks for the fox, whiskers. But if anything, she just looks like an attractive female. If anything, you take away the ears and the tail and she looks like a normal person. But add the ear and tails in, oh baby, you have some combination right there. Now, referring back to the chart you see here, you see that she's a tier 1. You add the ears, you add the tails. She really doesn't have anything more than that. She's not really semi-furry, and she's not anything more than that. But she's not really just baseline 0 either. You see, she's just a solid 1. And, people compare, let's say Batman and Ahri. See, what does Batman have that Ahri doesn't? Or what does Ahri have that Batman doesn't? Well, first off, Batman has a suit. Ahri here has a skirt and a dress, which is very attractive. But you can see he also has talents, as a bat would have. Except here he has no tail. I don't think... Well, I'm not sure if bats have tails. But regardless, he has bat ears. Ahri has fox ears. And she has a fox tail. And I assume that Batman, if he wanted to, he would add a bat tail in there. But you can compare these two and tell me that Batman is not any more furry than Ahri is. And people will compare Zaya and Ahri, and then does Zaya count as a furry? And to this argument, I say, refer back to the chart. You see, Ahri, she has the female woman, looks. She has a human face and a human body. But if you look at her, she has the bird ears, and she has talons on her feet. Now, if we refer back to the chart, you will notice that on the furry scale, she seems to be a tier 2, a semi-furry, which would be, a tier 1, just a little stepped up, a little maybe more animal parts, instead of hands, maybe they have paws, or, instead of feet, they have, talons, like Zaya would. So I wouldn't consider Zaya anything more than a tier 2, and if anything, I think furry, which is at tier 3, is when you truly become a furry, but anything under that is really just a man of culture, if you know what I'm saying. So that concludes that I am not a furry. Fuck you, Winston. Of course, thank you for listening, and credits to Professor Lando and to Riot Games for their splash.